From Los Angeles, California, number 32, Kevin Floyd. At guard for the Hawks, a 6'7" senior from Detroit, Michigan, number 14, Bill Jones. At the other guard for the Anteaters, a 6'1" senior from Corona del Mar, California, number 10, Mike Hess. And the other guard for the Hawks, a 6'2" junior from Detroit, Michigan, number 10, B.J. Armstrong. The coaches for UC of Irvine, Bob Fade, Tim Murphy, and Andy Andreas, the assistants, and the head coach, Bill Mulligan. For the Iowa Hawkeyes, assistants Rudy Washington, Gary Close, and Bruce Pearl, and the head man himself, Tom Davis.
And so, Iowa and Cal Irvine get ready to square off. A Big Ten crew works tonight's game. Ted Valentine, Mike Stockner, and Gary Muncy. And we'll be back with the opening tip-off right after this timeout on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
It's time for Lifestyles of the Original Party Animal with the grand poobah of partyometry, Bud Light's own Spuds McKenzie, as he's planning tonight's big bash. His fans watch as he tans his way to party elegance, a facial and massage, and Spuds McKenzie is ready to party. And Spuds parties with only Bud Light. He knows everything else is just a light.
Could it be any colder in here?
It's not that bad.
No, I just saw my breath in the kids' room.
Come on.
Admit it. We need a furnace we can actually afford to run. You know, like an Amana.
Amana?
It's reliable and efficient, so we can afford to keep the whole house warm. You won't get the Amana for me, then get it for the kids.
I've never heard the kids complain.
Good night, Daddy.
That's not fair.
Let's check out the matchups. No surprise for Iowa. That unit has started all but the first game of the season. But for Cal Irvine, every night's a surprise. 5 starts, 5 different starting lineups.
They have had 11 different players have an opportunity to start. That's what you call mulligans, too.
And so the second meeting in the series about to get underway. A shootout last year at Long Beach. And now in Iowa City for the championship of the Amana Hawkeye Classic. Armstrong will start things off in the offense for the Hawkeyes. The alley-oop to Marble.
And that's the same play the Hawkeyes started with last year against UC-Irvine. Backside screen, Marble gets open.
In fact, Marble played very well last year against UC-Irvine, got 28 points, Mac. You recall, most of them came from the inside. 5-second violation against Mike Hess. The Hawkeyes had the ball.
And that was man-to-man defense for the Hawkeyes. That's exactly what Iowa wanted to do. Alley-oop. Right there's Marble, wide open.
And from outside, Hill misfires. With the rebound is Kevin Floyd. Floyd, a transfer from Georgetown, and he ties the score. You will hear us mention a lot of transfers for Cal Irvine. 6 of their 14 players are on the roster, are transfers. If the Hawkeyes win tonight, that rating should improve, because teams above them, like Syracuse, Indiana today, have lost. Florida has lost, and so Iowa has a real good chance to move up into the top 5 if they succeed tonight. That's Hess, number 10, picking up the personal foul. It's the game's first foul. A True Value Most Valuable Player will be named at the conclusion of the game. True Value Hardware will donate $500 to the Hawkeye Fund in support of intercollegiate athletics at the University of Iowa. Hill on the drive, and the Hawkeyes regain the lead.
Strong inbounds play. I'll tell you, up and down the court, that's the way it's going to be.
That's the way it has been so far, as Frank Woods, a senior from Indianapolis, answers for the Anteaters, and the game is tied up at 4. Lorenzen playing outside. Man-to-man defense being used by the Anteaters. Marble beats his man Woods. Marble almost had another rebound, and he runs it down. So the Hawkeye game plan pretty obvious, even in their first 2 possessions. Move the ball inside. Jones tries inside. Basket will count. Jones called for the charge.
And once again, Bill Jones beats his man with a strong dribble. Good position by Hess. And Ingolstadt will take out the ball. A veteran should not be rattled by Lorenzen.
Jeff Moe, an early insert into the Hawkeye lineup. He's trying to shake a shooting slump and hopes that tonight's the night. Here is Jones getting his first start in the last 3 games. Underneath, trying to go back up with an Ed Johansson. But it's Iowa's ball off the knee of Johansson.
And Jeff Moe, as you indicated, has that slump. 1 for 10 from three-point range and 4 of 17 total field goals in the last 2 games.
For the season, just 9 out of 28 from three-point range. Last year, in Big Ten play, he was better than 50%. But Jeff is a streak shooter, and though he's down now, he can just as quickly get hot and not miss from that range.
But to be an asset for the Hawkeyes, Moe does have to shoot and score.
Ed Johansson, a transfer from Creighton University, coming up with a steal for the Anteaters. And Bill Mulligan's 5 pushes it down the floor in a hurry. Lorenzen guarding Ingolstadt, and that is the toughest defensive chore that Iowa faces, because Ingolstadt is a big-time basketball player with really some NBA potential.
He has a big-time body, that's for sure. He does handle the ball well. Shot 2 for 2 from three-point range last night and could go inside and do that. Muscles his way.
First basket tonight for Wayne Ingolstadt. He comes in averaging 22, games even at 6. Moe, Lorenzen, Armstrong, Hill, and Bill Jones make up the rest of the lineup as the shot is going to be way short by Armstrong. Mike Hess pushes it ahead for the Anteaters. A 3-point try. And Hill gets fouled by Johansson. Kent Hill coming off what Tom Davis said may have been the best performance of his Hawkeye career. Davis was extremely pleased with a lot of things last night. Certainly the play of Bill Jones and Kent Hill among them.
Well, you can see right now, UC-Irvine, as we said at the top of the show, if they pass it more than 3 times, Coach Mulligan will get upset with them.
The Anteaters have certainly used their players in a lot of different combinations as Bill Mulligan still looks for the right combination. And right now he's going to make a couple of changes. Jeff Herdman, a 6'6 freshman from Mission Viejo, California, wears number 11. And Steve Florentine, number 21, a sophomore letterman at 6'7 from Hermosa Beach, California, check into the fray. You see Mulligan in his California casual bench attire.
Well, it'll be difficult to wear down UC-Irvine. They have got 10 players that average 12 minutes or more.
And a kicking violation, and so Lorenzen will play for Iowa. New 45 put on the shot clock. 16:49 in the first half on the game clock. Scores even at 6. Thus far, just as billed, up and down the floor. Fast break basketball, man-to-man pressure defense. Nice pass, Moe to Marble. Second bucket for Roy Marble, who is closing in on the 1,000-point mark.
A travel that time, but a very good running up and down the court by Floyd. Hawkeye slow in getting back.
Second bucket for Floyd. Marble gets mugged by Ingolstadt. That'll be his first foul. 3 fouls have been called against Cal Irvine. There is Ingolstadt. He is 6'8", 250 pounds, starting his 34th consecutive game for the Anteaters.
The Hawkeyes were worried before this game started and getting back on defense. They found at Maui that was one of the weak points, and they wanted to work on the man-to-man defense.
Number 11, Herdman, and number 20, Justin Anderson into the lineup. Anderson is a freshman from Valley City, North Dakota. This is the first game he has not started. Marble trying to untie the score.
And you have an opportunity to look there at Coach Mulligan, a native Chicagoan.
Who went to high school, by the way, with comedian Bob Newhart.
And he swears he was funnier than Newhart. And he is. He's pretty funny.
Well, I don't know if he's funnier than Newhart, but I'll tell you what, he has a great sense of humor. A traveling violation against Hess, and Iowa gets the basketball. Tom Davis talking to Al Lorenzen, who is just off to his right, about to trigger in.
Torzik checks in. As you can see, the Mulligan stew is starting to boil. They switch him in every 30 seconds, every minute. And they're really playing without their point guard.
Inside Lorenzen. Lorenzen, a good move in crowded territory. The hoop will count, and Lorenzen has a chance at a three-point play. So Iowa enjoying great balance all season, and they have already had 4 players score tonight.
Now this is one of those moves that he gets fouled before he really starts shooting. And I'd say over the last 10 years, the officials have started to call more of these type of continuation like the NBA allows than they had prior to that, when they just said when a foul takes place, all action stops.
Florentine with the foul for the Anteaters, and Iowa up by 5, their biggest lead of the game. And again, 4 of the 5 Hawkeye starters have scored. The lone exception, B.J. Armstrong, who's taken just 1 shot. 11 Reeves coming in at a guard spot. From 3-point range, nothing but cord for Justin Anderson. Now, Anderson did not start because, being a freshman, Bill Mulligan thought he might be a bit rattled by this large crowd. He thought he might do better coming in off the bench, though he had started the first 4. Well, Mulligan must know his business because Anderson comes off the bench, hits the first shot that he takes.
The statement that just surprised me about Anderson, the freshman from North Dakota, is the fact Coach Mulligan called him the best shooter they've ever had at UC-Irvine.
Now all 5 starters have scored for Iowa as Horton drills one. 15:25 left to play in the first half, and a timeout has been taken. Iowa leads by 4 on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
Now there's a way for soybean growers to get the sure, safe, season-long broadleaf control of Scepter and the proven cost-effective grass control of Prowl in one convenient herbicide. One premix that controls both broadleaf weeds and grasses, including velvet leaf and foxtail, with one pre-plant incorporated application. Squadron. Control more than 50 broadleaf weeds and grasses with Squadron from your local Agri-Center dealer.
Finding the right gift is easy with these ideas inside the newest holiday circular from True Value hardware stores. Like the First Alert timer with 8 settings and battery backup, or the Snap-It MagnaFlex work light with magnetic base. The 25-foot Snap-It Store cord helps prevent overloads. And the shower massage from Teledyne Waterpick has 5 settings. Get it at participating True Value hardware stores. And tell them Pat Summerall sent you.
There are those who want the gas mileage and front-wheel drive performance of an economy car. And there are some who desire the people and cargo room of a van. And others wish to have the comforts of a motorhome. And then there are those who want it all. The Lasharo by Winnebago. For those who want it all. See the Lasharo at your local Winnebago dealer.
You've got to be wondering why Anteaters. Well, that's what happens when you let the student body pick the nickname. The finalists were Eagles, Unicorns, Golden Bears, Seahawks, and Anteaters. They had a student referendum when the school was formed back in 1965. Someone really campaigned heavily for Anteaters, and consequently, they are the only college team in the country nicknamed the Anteaters.
And do you know how many nicknames of Division I teams do not end in S?
No, how many?
22.
I know the Anteaters does.
And do Hawkeyes?
Jones on the pass from Horton. The interior passing has been very effective against the man-to-man thus far.
That would be the scouting report. You ought to be able to get it inside against UC-Irvine. They really don't want to play much defense. They want to get the ball, go down and score 3 for your 2.
Hess pressured by Marble. Number 33 just checking in. Mike Doctorzik. However, stepping on the out-of-bounds lines was Hess. The turnover gives the ball back to Iowa. 5 turnovers thus far against Irvine, just 2 against the Hawks.
And 7 for 9 for the Hawkeyes. A lot of that on inside shooting, just layups, 3 for 3 from the line. We started to talk, Larry, about really UC-Irvine is playing without a point guard. Hess going out really was slated to be the off guard, but that was Mike Labatt, who about 4 weeks ago had an ankle chip, came back, played the Pepperdine game, and twisted that same ankle again. And he's out again indefinitely.
Horton fouled on the way in by Ingolstadt. Davis talking to his bench while Ingolstadt draws his second personal foul. Again, he is the man that makes the Anteaters go. He has picked up 2 fouls in the first 5 minutes and 8 seconds of the game. That spells trouble for Cal Irvine.
And that's why the Hawkeyes wanted to get it inside. They felt they would be able to score layups or have Ingolstadt in foul problems.
That's definitely the scouting report. Iowa feels a great advantage if they can work the ball inside. And a tie ball, the possession arrow points the opposite direction, and so that means the ball will belong to the Anteaters. Engelstad to trigger. Coming down with it, Floyd, but he lost control of the ball, and Bill Jones was there to take advantage of the opportunity.
Really looked like a foul on B.J. Armstrong, and nothing called.
Armstrong in deep. And so the Hawkeyes have scoring from 6 different players and lead 19-11. And dropping it home is Jeff Herdman, just inside the three-point line. A 2-point shot for Herdman. Whoa, what a play. Marble with his 8-point.
Tremendous look right there by B.J. Armstrong. I'll tell you, the Anteaters take too much time. One pass in less than a second to get it up.
And Justin Anderson is 2 of 2 from three-point range. Armstrong is fouled by Justin Anderson.
The reason those passes are being completed, the man on the ball has really not extended himself, bothering Engelstad. He at 6'8" can look over and throw that long pass.
Horton leaves the lineup for Iowa. Lorenzen comes in. Into the lineup for Cal Irvine comes Mike Doktorzik, number 33, and he'll replace Engelstad, who has to go to the bench, having drawn 2 early fouls.
Super move right there. Armstrong throws the bounce pass. Marble cutting the baseline. That's something that happens with veterans who have worked together and understand each other's moves.
BJ has not missed a free throw this season, and that continues to hold true. He is now 12 out of 12.
And not only Armstrong has not missed any, who was last year's leading free throw shooter? Michael Reeves. He also has not missed any this year.
I hate to correct you, Mac. Last night, missed one.
He has now.
Yeah, that's right. 23-16 is the count. I was shot so many last night, I couldn't expect you to remember them all. Armstrong coming up with the interception, but then not being able to control it.
I must have gone for the popcorn at that particular time.
13 minutes, 49 seconds to play in the first half. Bill Mulligan talks to his Irvine bench as Iowa's jumped to a 23-16 lead. The one thing to remember when a team plays Cal Irvine, they can get down by 12 points or go up by 12 points in a hurry. That's the kind of offense they can muster. Floyd, who started his college career at Georgetown and is a distant relative of former Hoya star Sleepy Floyd. Number 25 is Johansson. He is also a transfer, was the starting center at Creighton 2 years ago as a sophomore. That is Johansson on the shot. Hawkeyes want a break. Armstrong. Nice play by BJ because Irvine was back defensively. They had made the transition. It didn't stop BJ.
Excellent move that way. He had Moe on the left, but Armstrong with the opportunity to drive it into the center gives the Hawkeyes 10 for 12.
Floyd misfiring from 3. And now the Hawkeyes have an injury back in the backcourt. Kent Hill either twisted or maybe was stepped on, and he is limping to the bench, where John Street, the Hawkeye trainer, will give him some immediate attention. That is Ed Horton, who has replaced him. The Hawkeyes certainly a tough team to beat at home.
Well, that 57-16. And of course, on the inaugural game, they lost here to Michigan State. Bobby Hansen, an opportunity in the last second to win it.
And by the way, in the Davis era, which is now in its second year, 14-2 on the home floor. The turnover, the 5th against Iowa.
Kent Hill is leaving the Iowa bench, going to the locker room with trainer John Street.
Up the middle of the floor comes Frank Woods. He's also a transfer out of Seward, Kansas Community Junior College, which is way out in the western part of Kansas and liberal. That is Woods. And over the zone, the shot is missed by Kevin Floyd. Jones travels as he tries to feed to Ed Horton, and so the turnover gives the ball back to the Anteaters, with Iowa leading 25-16.
Well, right now, with 12:32 left to go in the first half, Already the Anteaters have put up as many points as the Naval Academy did.
That was Mike Hess, number 10, a starting guard, checking back in. Justin Anderson, who hit a couple of three-point shots, but is having a bit of difficulty with the rest of his game. The defense and the other things that a guard must do will take a seat on the bench. Woods against Moe.
Woods is not a ball handler. It's pretty obvious there.
Inside, it is Johansson. First bucket for Ed Johansson. He's averaging 8.3. He's from the Omaha area. And Moe from three.
That's when he needs to come out of the slump.
He needs several of those, but at least he has a start. And hitting one early is certainly going to help him. Woods for three. And so the three-point shot by Moe answered by Frank Woods. And once again, the Iowa lead down to 7. And Armstrong answers. 8 points already for BJ. He and Marble with 8 to lead the Hawkeye scoring. 11:45 to play in the first half.
Oh, I could watch 12 of these games back-to-back with teams like this, the way they shoot.
What a shootout that with Kevin Floyd. And that is Bill Jones.
And that is Armstrong on the assist. BJ says, I need help. Get somebody else in here. 13 for 15. Iowa has missed just 2 shots in the first 9 minutes of this game.
A blistering tempo. The Hawkeyes have been equal to the occasion thus far, leading it 32-23. That is Hess getting the pick from Johansson. Jones all alone. Watch this one.
And that's 14 for 16. And the answer.
The basket is still rattling at the other end. And a timeout is taken with 10:52 left to play in the first half. Iowa's got their biggest lead of the game now, up by 11. We'll be back after these local messages.
In a row without a miss. But you know, Larry, the thing that Iowa is doing is the defensive work at the end of the court, forcing the Anteaters to shoot from perimeter range, while the Hawkeyes have only 1 shot outside 10 feet. And they've only missed 2 in the entire game.
Great execution of the game plan that Bruce Pearl, Tom Davis's assistant, outlined for us earlier this afternoon. That was the game plan. Work the ball inside. That's what they're doing with great success. The last foul, by the way, on Ed Horton, his first. Only 2 team fouls whistled against Iowa. So they're playing defense, but yet not fouling in this hectic-paced game.
And Ingolstadt's going to have to get back on the offensive end.
And Ingolstadt has it picked away from him by Jones and Jewell. Jewell, number 32, checking into the attack. 11 is Reeves. Jones looking for Lorenzen. Would have been a tough pass to handle. He could not. And the Anteaters have it. Well, you can expect with this kind of a pace there are going to be turnovers. Irvine has 9. Hawkeyes have 7. Whoops, there's another one for Cal Irvine. And they get it right back.
Looked like a little swinging of the elbows to clear himself.
Herdman on the drive. With the rebound for Irvine, Wayne Ingolstadt. That is his second bucket. He averages 8 rebounds a game. Iowa with a 34-25 advantage. 10 minutes, 14 seconds to go in the first half. Marble. Good job in the air of dishing off. Lorenzen, who's been in double figures in all 5 Hawkeye games, hits this one and will go to the line with a chance at a 3-point play. 5 points in the first half for Al Lorenzen.
Again, Al Lorenzen really being a consistent rebounder, offensive rebounder in this case. Just pump fake, got the easy layup opportunity. Al Lorenzen really playing in balance when he's able to get that ball and not putting it on the floor.
Lorenzen, a model of consistency thus far. In double figures in all 5 Hawkeye games, he is the only Iowa player in double figures in all 5, and they've all been between 10 and 13-point performances. A 12-point lead for Iowa, their biggest lead thus far. Ingolstadt dishes it off in the corner, and the shot is banged home by Justin Anderson. Anderson is now 3 out of 3 from 3-point range.
Well, as Coach Mulligan told us, he is the best shooter they've ever had, and they've had the nation's leading scorer in Kevin McGee at UC-Irvine.
And Anderson hands to Hess, who tries. Johansson underneath.
And course, who can forget last year, Scotty Brooks. He awakened the University of Iowa to what that three-point shot can do.
He had 6 of them in that game that Iowa finally won 105 to 103. Brooks now playing with Albany in the Continental Basketball Association. Jones has connected on his 10th point. And again, Iowa continues with success in the paint and on the baseline. Engelstad, a forward, can bring it up as he does. Right there. And leaving it long is Herdman. Iowa doing a good job on the boards, especially on the defensive glass. 8:45 in the first half. 9-point Iowa lead. Oh, what a pass. Jones on the receiving end.
That is a bounce curl pass. Tom Jones teaches that, Tom Davis teaches that. And the Hawkeyes really believe in it. You can get that ball to spin up right to a cutter. It looks like he is not going to be able to get to it. And it gets right by the defenders.
Now Reeves and Jones will exit. Moe comes in. Ed Horton also comes in for Iowa. Both coaches really shuffling their benches. Interception by Armstrong. Looked like a defensive back. Moe for 3. He's got 2 of them. And suddenly Iowa with a 14-point lead. That's their biggest of the game. Engelstad leaves it short. Hawkeyes with a 3-on-3 situation. Armstrong. Pass a little bit low for Marble. Foul on Hess. Mike Hess, his second foul.
And it looks like Roy Marble got hit in the head.
Marble is down. See where the contact occurred. Oh, right there. It looked like he got a shot in the eye, man.
Yeah. A finger or a thumb right in that left eye. And, of course, the left eye is where he took the 8 stitches after he got hit by Kenny Wilson of Villanova over the Maui Classic.
Now, Kent Hill has already had to leave the lineup because of an injury. He hurt his right leg.
Mike Stockner asked him if he wants the timeout.
Bill, by the way, has not returned to the Iowa bench. Well, Marble, shaking off the ill effects of that finger to the eye, will now go to the line. He's got 8 points already. He is 9 points away from becoming the 22nd 1,000-point scorer in Hawkeye history. The Hawkeyes not only blazing from the field, perfect at the free throw line as they have connected on 7 out of 7.
And that is a big turnaround from last year, where they were last in the Big Ten at just 65%.
And from Hess, no good, and Horton claims the rebound. How come as soon as we say how well they're shooting at the free throw line, they miss one, huh, Mike?
Oh, just one of those things that media people do. It's part of their job to hex the other players.
Foul called on Frank Woods, his first personal foul. That is 9 already against the Anteaters, and thus far only 2 against the Hawkeyes.
Usually when you talk about a fouling team, you talk about teams that don't play good position defense or good help defense. They're reaching and not sliding.
Ed Horton, who is still trying to regain his condition after spraining a knee, or rather an ankle in practice, going to have to go a little bit longer than he's accustomed to because of the injury to Hill.
Well, it'll help him get in condition, especially at this pace.
Iowa by 16, and now by 17. And we have a timeout with 7:50 to play in the first half. As you look in at the Anteater bench, they trail the Hawkeyes by 17 on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
Holiday greetings from Budweiser.
The red-hot Hawkeyes, 47 points already with 7:50 left to play in the first half. And they could be thinking records if this pace continues, because that's a brilliant scoring output. Iowa comes back onto the floor with Moe, Armstrong, Jones, Horton, and Lorenzen. And they start bringing them up to love basketball early in the Hawkeye State.
He'll remember this game for the rest of his life.
Interesting man, Bill Mulligan. He spent his summers in Fort Madison. His grandmother used to live there, although he grew up in Chicago. He had a player who went on to success in another endeavor you may have heard of when he was an assistant at USC. Tom Selleck used to play for it.
Yeah, Coach Mulligan said, I told Selleck you couldn't play basketball. You ought to try something like volleyball.
Woods double team. Jones ahead to Moe. And Jeff has got 8 tallies here in the first half. And Iowa has already 49 points with 7:28 to go.
Well, a halftime score over in Des Moines. Iowa State 38 and the Drake Bulldogs 36.
That figured to be a close one. It always is, and it is again tonight. Engelstad goes to the hole. That's something he does well. If he gets the ball there, Mac, he's virtually unstoppable.
He's a very strong young man, and it's hard to body him and force him off balance.
Same could be said for Horton, but that time he was off balance, and Hess comes up with a steal for the Anteaters. Hess has a notion at 3, but he didn't see Bill Jones. Jones, the look-away pass to Armstrong, Lorenzen, and Jones battle for the board. And tying him up was Steve Florentine.
I'll tell you, they don't teach it any better than this on any playground that I know of.
Herdman, who's got 2 points, comes in. Woods goes out. Iowa will also make a change. Marble back in, and Moe will leave. 6:43 to play in the first half. 49-32, Iowa on top. And Jeff looks like he has regained his shooting touch. 2 3-pointers and a layup. Inside, it's Armstrong. And BJ's in double figures. Players are going to be able to fatten up their scoring averages in this one.
Doesn't help the team defensive average much.
And Herdman puts it through.
Now I know why they didn't shoot layups today in practice.
Jones on the drive. It's interesting to note the success that Irvine has had for the most part as the travel will get it back to Iowa has been their free throw shooting. From the field, they are at only 42%, but from the line, they're 82%. One of the best free throw shooting teams in the country.
Well, it does show you they are very good standstill shooters. And that is why they're shooting much better on the outside tonight than that low 40 percentage. They're able to get set, shoot it, and then it's just another free throw.
Johansson, who started at center, returning to the fray.
Coach Mulligan talking to Ted Valentine. And Coach Mulligan gets the Iowa welcome technical.
And so Bill Mulligan will send the Hawkeyes to the line with 6:08 to go in the half.
I wonder what his grandmother thinks about this.
Mulligan's had a lot of success at Cal Irvine, has twice coached them into the NIT. Michael Reeves, who had not missed a free throw until the second half last night, now has missed 2 in as many games, but he's still doing an outstanding job at the stripe this year. He is now 14 out of 16 from the line. Mulligan still talking to himself.
Coach Mulligan, really delightful to talk to.
Probably wouldn't be a real pleasant conversationalist at this particular moment, though.
Not a good interview right now.
Horton chased by Engelstad. Jones with the ball deflected away by Herdman. 5:55 shows on the scoreboard clock in the first half. When you hear the score, you'd sure it'd be halftime at 52-34, but nope, almost 6 minutes left to play in this hectic paced basketball game.
And again, Iowa really getting offensive plays inside, right there on the block, not having to shoot from the outside at all.
Good move by Horton.
But I'll say UC-Irvine, not intimidated by the press. They keep bringing it. They keep attacking Iowa. It's a matter of how many shots they hit. And do they hit the 2-pointer or 3-pointer?
And again, they're down by 20, but they can score them in bunches. Engelstad on the drive and a blocking foul called on Marble.
Yeah, that's Iowa's just 3rd foul. And that also tells you something. Irvine is not setting up their offense, trying to move it into the interior where they can draw fouls. They've shot that perimeter shot. Roy still sliding underneath.
But actually it was Reeves who picked up the foul. They were both there, as you saw, and contact was made with both. Reeves was on the inside, so he and not Marble picked up the foul. Right. Engelstad missing the free throw. That's the first one the Anteaters have shot. Last year they were 5th in the country as a team in free throw percentage. And by the way, they don't spend a lot of time practicing free throws. Bill Mulligan says you get good shooters, they hit free throws. He doesn't spend any extra time emphasizing it.
And we talked a bit about that last night, that when players go in shooting slumps, what do you do to break out of it? Or not hitting those free throws like Navy, a very poor free throw shooting team. Like Mulligan said, hey, just get good shooters.
Reeves knocking in his first basket, a 21-point lead for Iowa. Lorenzen tied up by Herdman. And this time, Cal Irvine will get it. Mo back into the attack. There he is, next to Al Lorenzen.
When he comes off the bench, I've heard it said he can give the Hawkeyes momentum.
You could say that.
I don't want to.
He's replacing Bill Jones. Hess. And it's pushed back by Johansson. 3 buckets by Ed Johansson, who learned to play the pivot under Willis Reed, the former NBA great, when he was the coach at Creighton. Marble. And here come the Anteaters, back to within 19. That is Johansson for 2 in a row. And the Hawkeyes gonna run. Marble. Whoa. What a block by Johansson. Iowa's still got it. Johansson really leaping high into the air. That's him, number 25, right in the middle. The Papillon, Nebraska. Watch it.
Iowa makes a great athletic move here. Marble sliding by so he doesn't get the charge. And then out of nowhere, the slap comes. Johansson, good rejection.
Mike Doktorczyk replacing Engelstad in the lineup for the Anteaters. Horton. 4.5 left in half number 1. 56-37 is the count in favor of Iowa. Mo on the pass from Lorenzen. And a foul is called on Herdman. For Jeff Herdman, that'll be his first. Final score, and a Big Ten team has gone down. George Washington turning back Michigan State, 65-64.
Well, a bit of a surprise. Michigan State has some young players, Jesse Hall, Steve Smith, and getting all ready on the rebound. They've got an excellent freshman recruiting class for next year. Probably be rated in the top 3 in the country.
Jeff Mo, though, struggling last night from the field, had no problem from the free throw line. He was 8 out of 8. So he hits his 9th in a row in this tournament, and Mo has got 9 points. He'll be in double figures here, and if so, and of course, you almost know that he is, that is already 3 Hawkeyes in double figures with 4:22 to play in the first half. Coming down with it all the way on the drive, Floyd. He wants the basket to count. The officials confer, and they do count it.
And Horton sliding the whole way, never had position. You've got to establish position before the man leaves his feet. Eddie getting that left shoulder over there, trying to draw the charge. He has to be stationary.
Chance at a 3-point play for Kevin Floyd. Floyd was a forward in high school, just making the transition to the off guard since coming to Cal Irvine from Georgetown, where he started his career. And that gives him 9. An 18-point lead for Iowa with 4:14 to play in the first half. Mac, thus far a tough day for Big Ten teams. We mentioned the Michigan State loss a moment ago, and earlier today, Indiana got knocked off in overtime by Kentucky.
Boy, that was really an excellent ball game. Kentucky down 4 points with just 17 seconds to go in regulation. Gets the freshman Jay Edwards to knock it home for the OT.
Johansson with the first player for either team with more than 2 fouls as he draws his 3rd. And will now take a seat on the bench, and coming in to take his place will be Steve Florentine, a 6'7" sophomore from Hermosa Beach, California. Jeff Mo to the line. Tom Davis admitted a little bit of concern with Mo's inability to get the ball to go down in the last 2 ball games, but surely those concerns have been somewhat alleviated by the first half performance of Jeff Mo.
Boy, he shot the outside shot, and that will open up the defense for him and the offense, for the baseline runners to come in and get easy reverse layups, because the defender has to go out on Jeff Mo, giving him the passing lane.
Mo spending his classroom time getting ready to apply to law schools. He figures that's his next move. He doesn't really harbor any hopes of pro basketball. He thinks law school's the way to go, and if he's the kind of competitor in the courtroom that he is on the basketball floor, he can defend me anytime.
Mo, really a perfect night. 3 for 3 from the field, 4 for 4 from the line.
And a 20-point Hawkeye lead. Just under 4 to play in the first half. Woods. The follow shot by Dr. Zick, and it's going to be Iowa coming up the floor, a chance to add to their 20-point lead.
Really a poor decision by Reeves that time. Taking it inside, he had Mo over on that left side where he's been hot. Point guard has to realize where the good shooters are, just like a good quarterback. Has to find those open receivers into traffic and gets the foul.
A timeout taken by Cal Irvine. Will return right after these local messages. 3:44 to play in the first half. Look at that score. That should be about midway through the second half in most college games.
At least that far along.
But a 20-point lead for Iowa. 3 players in double figures already. Jones and Mo with 12 and Armstrong with 10. And it looks like the Boilermakers are back on track.
Well, certainly they struggled early, losing in the NIT to Iowa State in Mackey Arena. Certainly an upset. But they struggled a little bit at Illinois State. And people started to wonder if they were having a little internal problems or if they were just playing, feeling that pressure of being ranked so highly.
And so Purdue now 3-1. The shooting has been torrid for the Hawkeyes and not bad either for Irvine.
Oh, take that anytime.
Both teams over 50%. Iowa way over. Floyd, trapped, turns it over.
No, they gave him a timeout there.
Oh, excuse me.
Gave him a timeout just before the 5 seconds.
And so it was a wise decision as he was running out of time. Wise at this point in the game because it prevented the turnover. However, should the Anteaters later need it, then that would be costly. So Iowa goes back to the bench around Tom Davis with a 20-point lead at 60-40. 3 minutes, 36 seconds left to play in the first half as the Hawkeyes try to improve their record to 6-0. Again, our congratulations to C. Vivian Stringer's Hawkeye women's basketball team. Big victory for them today.
Oh, just super. Long Beach State, one of the top-ranked teams in the country, and of course, Vivian's team will move up. But Iowa's next home game is this Friday. It will be December 11th against the Nebraska Cornhuskers. And I believe that's a bit of a revenge game. Last year, Hawkeyes went over there and were upset by the Cornhuskers. Game time is set for 7:30 here in Carver Hawkeye Arena.
And then a week from tonight, we'll be next on the air, and that will be the next Hawkeye game here on the Hawkeye Sports Network. And what a battle that could be. Iowa against Arizona, the return of Lute Olson and Mack. The way things are shaking down, it's the very possible we'll have 2 top 5 rated teams.
Well, I'll tell you, you are going to look. It says number 9 and number 6. Next week, it'll have the Hawkeyes and the Wildcats both probably in the top 5. Look for Iowa maybe to go to 4th, Arizona 5th. Other people think maybe the other way around. We'll find out. All I know is my stomach will not be able to take a week waiting for that game.
Justin Anderson back in, number 20. He inbounded for the Anteaters. This is Steve Florentine bringing it up the floor. That's Kevin Floyd with it. Hawkeyes at 60 points already and still 3:25 to play in the first half. Kent Hill still not back on the Iowa bench. He's being treated for a leg injury suffered about midway through this first half. And from the corner, Floyd has got his 11th point. How Iowa's getting the ball down quickly, really making the Anteaters work defensively to get back after they score. Just under 3 minutes to play in the half. Armstrong, Lorenzen. And Al Lorenzen has got 8 already.
And 3 for 3 from the field.
Woods, cross court. Whoa. Anderson pulling it down. Mo harassing him defensively. The Anteater guide word, when in doubt, put her up. Jewell with a rebound and a shot spotted inside.
Well, I'll tell you, it's one thing. It's impossible to scout the Anteaters to find out their half-court offense.
They don't let the ball hit the floor very often, do they? Lorenzen checks out, and now Coach Davis applauding his hustle. Also, Mo will leave. Mark Jewell goes to the free throw line following the foul on Frank Woods, which is his second. For Cal Irvine, Ed Johansson, the only player with more than 2. He has got 3, and the Hawkeyes as a team have only 4 fouls. For Jewell, just his 4th appearance on the line this year. He has hit 1. Woods, a 3-point shot by Frank Woods, his second 3-point goal and his 8th points in the game. And the Iowa lead back down to 17.
Easy, come on now, 20.
Marble, Horton. Armstrong drives. Oh, what a move. Lays it up with the left hand.
And the Hawkeyes better get back. That may be Eddie Horton's 3rd foul.
Horton has drawn his 3rd, so Iowa tests 5 fouls as to make it 6 fouls as a team.
When BJ drove in, nobody rotated back to play defense, and it just left UC-Irvine really all alone going down.
Horton with 3 fouls. That is especially costly because Tom Davis does not have Kent Hill to use because of the earlier injury. Les Jepson now will come in. Jepson got some quality playing minutes last night and now needs to get some and really provide some quality minutes tonight.
And last night, 8 rebounds in just 14 minutes. You know, that translates to over 20 rebounds a game. But offensively, has to become a bit more polished and defensive into the court against the press. He really has to get back and think hustle all the time to be in position.
Those 8 rebounds last night by Jepson, a career high. He also had 4 points, which was a career high. From behind, it is blocked by Engelstad. This is Hess, and Jepson fouls him. Les Jepson, a sophomore letterman out of Bow Bells, North Dakota, picking up the foul. And that will send the Anteaters into the bonus for the final 1:43 of the half.
Well, do you know if Justin Anderson, last year's Player of the Year, knows Mark Jewell, or excuse me, Les Jepson? Here's a great block shot right from behind. Jones never saw Engelstad there.
Engelstad with 2 fouls, but he was not being cautious at all. Mike Hess with his first points. He scored 7 against the Hawkeyes last year in the game that Iowa wound up winning by 2. Here is Chris Creswell into the game for the first time, a freshman from Merced, California. His average is 3. Hess, one of the many transfers on the Anteater roster. He started his career as a Longhorn at the University of Texas. Hess with the steal. And he was not behind the 3-point barrier, just a 2-point goal for Hess. He was close.
Now Jepson comes in, has that foul, and then gives up the turnover on the bounce pass, looking for Armstrong.
Jones, Lorenzen, Marble. Lorenzen, a big offensive board. And Lorenzen draws a foul. He will go to the line, fouled by Hess. Jewell into the Iowa lineup. And Jepson, who struggled, will leave.
And now you have Jewell play that power forward position, and Al Lorenzen will go to the post position.
Hess, the second starter for the Anteaters with 3 fouls. Ed Johansson, their starting pivot, is the other. Al Lorenzen in double figures every time out thus far this year, has 8 so far in the first half.
Again, consistency. That's been Al's trademark so far this year. And of course, that's what coaches like. They like to feel every time when someone steps on the court, they will be a productive player.
Hess will leave with that 3rd foul, replaced by Kevin Floyd. And Lorenzen still has not missed a free throw. He has 10 first half points. His season high, 13, here on Tuesday night against Drake. Engelstad finding Herdman. 16-point lead for Iowa. Herdman.
Nice soft touch on the release.
And that is 7 points for the freshman from Mission Viejo. Armstrong on the drive. And a travel called on Marble. He tried to get it out. Very tough to get rid of the ball and not travel right there.
Down on the floor, any movement at all really becomes a travel.
So Iowa leading the first half by as many as 20. Now leading by 14 and a chance for the Anteaters to cut it. Floyd leaving it short. And the steal by Engelstad, but he tumbles out of bounds trying to do it right in front of us, and the ball goes right back to the Hawkeyes.
Pretty athletic for 6'8" and 250.
I'd say he has a future in this game.
Boy.
Beyond his collegiate career, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Here's Steve Florentine back in. And leaving will be Johansson. Iowa will also make a change. Jewell out. And number 11, Michael Reeves comes back. Into the final minute of the first half with Iowa on top 66-52. As fast-paced a game as the Hawkeyes have been involved in almost since last December against this same Cal Irvine team. There were a couple of others along the Big Ten trail, but the pace has really been torrid in the first half. And Iowa's depth factor has been cut with Ed Horton with 3 fouls and Kent Hill with an injury.
And obviously some decisions being made possibly on redshirting some of the freshmen.
Lorenzen traveled, and the ball goes to Cal Irvine. 5 seconds is an eternity for them to try to get a shot away. This won't be any problem for them at all.
They get 3 shots off.
Unless they throw it to a Hawkeye. Armstrong. Jones at the horn. 14 first-half points for Bill Jones as he sends the Hawkeyes to the locker room with a 16-point lead. And that's the end of the first half. We'll return after these local messages. A blistering pace in the first half. Iowa with a 68-52 lead. The players are not the only ones who are put to the test in a game like this, Mac.
Boy, you've got to look at those officials early in the season. They've got to be in shape, and it's a very difficult pace that Ted Valentine right there has to contend with, as well as his partners, Mike Stockner and Gary Muncy. And they have to be in position. That's one thing that really bothers coaches. They don't mind having a call made, but you better be in position to make the call. If you happen to miss it, you miss it. And in this pace, that's difficult for these people to do.
We mentioned 68 points, a one-half record here at Carver Hawkeye Arena. If you're wondering about school records, the most points Iowa ever scored in a half and in a game came in the same game against Notre Dame in the consolation of the NCAA tournament in 1970. Iowa's school record, 121 points against Notre Dame, and the most points in a half in school history, 75 in that same ball game. So certainly Iowa right now is on a pace for that, but that's not Tom Davis's concern. Winning is against an anteater team that scores points very quickly in bunches. They are certainly not out of the game down by 16.
No, that record 75 points, a tremendous game. That was Fred Brown, John Johnson, Glenn Bednovic. Those people, and Austin Carr had 44 points for the Irish.
Hawkeyes would like to add another Amana Hawkeye trophy to the case, and if they can hang on, they can do that. 25 Horton starting the second half ahead of Kent Hill, who went out with an injury midway through the first half. Armstrong. And with the rebound for Cal Irvine is Wayne Engelstadt. Cal Irvine has also made a change from their starters, Jeff Hurtman, getting the starting call in the second half, as Kevin Floyd, who's been hot from outside, drills it, and he now has 13 points. Some incredible individual shooting in the first half, which we'll detail for you as Jones lays it in. 16 for Jones. He is 8 out of 12 from the floor.
Just incredible shooting, and again, consistency out of Bill Jones.
Engelstadt. Number 32 is Kevin Floyd. Number 20 also did not start, Justin Anderson. He has been the long bomb threat for Anderson. That is his 4th three-point goal of the game. Jones has it rejected by Johansson, and Iowa will keep it. Some of the other individual shooting percentages, Mac. Lorenzen was 3 for 3. Marble was 3 for 7. Hill hit the only shot that he took. Moe was 3 for 3. Horton was 2 for 2.
Jones coming down, being able to get it up, but then gets it rejected. And there you have Lorenzen putting it in, keeping him at 4 for 4.
As we return to live action, Horton had missed Lorenzen with the offensive tip. Johansson answers for Cal Irvine, and the pace has not slowed down with the break. Everybody is just as hot and just as up and down the floor as they were in the waning moments of the first half. A minute and a half has been played in the second half. Marble has it stripped by Engelstadt. This is the freshman from North Dakota, Anderson. And Engelstadt underneath. For Wayne Engelstadt, that is his 9th point. Armstrong. Horton has a block from behind by Engelstadt. He draws the foul. That will be his 3rd. he becomes the third anteater with 3 personal fouls. The others are Hess and Johansson, all 3 starters.
I got to be honest, that looked like a pretty good block. Horton put up the ball, showed it to him, Ingolstadt from behind, and that's where your good shot blockers get it. Not facing the man that's going to shoot it, but away from the ball.
Jeff Moe comes into the lineup, and Bill Jones will leave. Ed Horton to the line. It really becomes a key in this game now, because with Hill hurt, Horton's going to have to play more time tonight than he's played in any game this year.
And with Eddie, Mark Jewell and also Les Jepson become critical. You may even see Bill Jones have to play in that front line, having Moe and Marble be the running mates at the same time.
Horton now 2 out of 3 from the foul line tonight. He now has 7. And here comes Mark Jewell, giving Eddie Horton a rest.
And Iowa's gone to the zone pressure the first half. Not very much of it.
At the free throw line, working in is Floyd. The basket will count by Floyd. Kevin Floyd has been the top performer for Cal Irvine with 15 points.
Driving penetration, Lorenzen moving over to the right, gets the foul. And right now, having Kent Hill out of there, you lose the athletic ability in the back of that zone press.
Bill Mulligan seeing his team work their way back into this one. They have been down by as many as 20 points. They now are back to within 10. Floyd can't complete the 3-point play, and Lorenzen has the rebound pass knocked away by Kevin Floyd, but Iowa will get it. Bill Jones comes back into the attack for Iowa. Armstrong will leave. Marble will leave also as Mike Reeves comes in. Michael Reeves, 3 points in the first half. And Ed Horton will also come back in for Iowa. 2 minutes have been played in the second half. The Hawkeyes lead sliced to 10, making this a pretty important possession. As Iowa's got to reestablish some momentum now that the Anteaters are hot. Jewell, that's Ed Horton. Jones puts it to the floor. And Bill Jones continues to supply the offensive spark. He has 18. Anderson in deep.
Eddie had to be very careful with 3 fouls already. Looked like he almost laid a hand right there on Anderson to get that 4th foul and then backed off very quickly.
Horton. And it is Anderson with a rebound. The freshman has played well off the bench, but Horton gets it back. And now Johansson gets it back, and it's hot potato time.
And it's sloppy play by the Hawkeyes.
Herdman leaves it short. Here comes Iowa trying to add to a 10-point lead. Jones on the feet from Moe. Jewell, a strong offensive rebound. Mark Jewell making a strong offensive move. He's got a chance at a 3-point play following his first basket of the game.
Excellent job by Mark. That's something Mark needs to do, become more aggressive on the boards. Coach Davis has to be happy with that. Right here, strong, back up, left-handed. And Mark is a very good shooter. When you talk good shooters on the team, you'll find out Mark Jewell's name will come up. But he's just 1 for 4 from the foul line this year.
And there's what made that play even bigger, because the starting pivot man, Johansson, now 4 fouls for Cal Irvine. So that's a big play from a couple of standpoints as Iowa increases their lead back to 12 and gets Johansson on the bench. Jewell's career high, 5 against Ryder. His season high, 3 against Navy, and that free throw equaled it. So Jewell getting some more playing time here in the Amana Hawkeye Classic and beginning to take advantage of it. Too tall for Herdman. The turnover gives it back to the Hawks.
But it really starts to show up a possible weak spot for the Hawkeyes, not having Ken Hill in there and being able to be used in the rotation. That front line going to have to become more physical and really be aggressive on board play.
Herdman leaves as Woods re-enters the lineup for Cal Irvine. Iowa 13-point lead. Jewell for 2 in a row. And that is 5 points for Mark Jewell. It equals a career high. On the baseline, Woods tries. Hess. Floyd.
It's a long time for Irvine to have the ball.
Ingolstadt. And Ingolstadt puts it back up. 11 for Ingolstadt. Iowa's lead, 13.
Yeah, Mo.
Mo for three. Jones keeps the rebound alive. Some good hustle by Bill Jones. Woods knocked it away. Jones ran it down.
Excellent job by Bill Jones. Couldn't control it, but he tipped it away. Went and retrieved it. Very heady play.
Nice pass by Mo to Horton. And though he did not get the basket, he did pick up the fourth foul against Wayne Ingolstadt. So Cal Irvine had cut a 21-point Iowa lead down to 10. Currently it's 13 lead for Iowa, but now the two power men inside for Cal Irvine have 4 fouls. Ingolstadt will join Johansson on the bench. And so coming off the bench will be Mike Doktorzik. He is a junior letterman from San Pedro, as Horton will go to the line.
And Lorenzen checks in. Mark Jewell goes out to a nice ovation. The crowd appreciating his 2 quick baskets.
Maybe his biggest single contribution to the Hawkeyes thus far in his career.
Oh, certainly quality time. No question about it.
8 for Horton. A 14-point lead for Iowa. Eddie's season high, 17 against Villanova. Woods rebounds for the Anteaters. The shot clock was not met for teams like Cal Irvine. They get 45. They rarely use 15. Mo pushes it up front. Out of control. Mo tries to find Horton, and Cal Irvine gets it on the Iowa turnover. And we have a timeout with 15-14 remaining to be played. Iowa with a margin of 14 will return in just a moment on the Hawkeye Sports Network.
Round of lights here.
Ask for Bud Light. The light beer with the first name and taste.
Let me know when you're ready for another round.
Because everything else is just a light.
Do you know what the difference is between this card and this card? Me. I'm your Teleconnect All Call America operator. I'm one of the many operators on duty around the clock to help you place all your long-distance calls from any phone, any place, coast to coast. Oh, and there's one other reason why more and more people are using this card. All Call America service saves you money. Hello, Teleconnect.
Someone put a bender in my left front fender. Leave it to the good hands, people. I got a dent in the door of my 4x4.
Allstate makes an accident a little easier to take. We offer a repair guarantee, and in most cases, we'll give you a settlement on the spot.
I parked in a lot in a place that I trusted, but when I returned, my window was busted. Leave it to the good hands, people. You're in good hands with Allstate.
A member of the Sears Financial Network.
And so Iowa with a 14-point lead, having to get some pivot play from their bench because the starting center, Kent Hill, hurt. He has not returned to the bench. The last time we checked, Tom Davis walking up and down the bench now, really having to play chess with the pace of the game and without Hill to work with.
Well, and I'm sure Bill Mulligan, Coach Mulligan, has to be happy. His team has clawed back. They were within striking distance of 10 points, and as you said earlier, Larry, 10 points is just 3 possessions, which would take about 40 seconds in this game.
Cresswell, who hasn't played much, almost lost on the double team, and now he has as Marvel pokes it away. Armstrong runs it down. Mo for 3. And a rebound foul underneath, and it will go on Horton, and that is his 4th. So Tom Davis has now got some grave concerns. He does not have Kent Hill to use. Apparently, Hill will not return tonight. That would be what you'd have to speculate because he's not returned to the bench. Horton now draws his 4th personal foul, and so Davis is going to have to scramble to fill that position.
And it was just not a good foul to get. It was certainly something. He was not defending the basket in any kind of position. And just to jump up over, get the foul.
It's only the second team foul on Iowa in the half. Jewell replacing Horton, who goes to the bench with 4.
And
so Irvine with 2 players on the bench with 4 fouls, and Iowa with 1.
And Iowa going to zone, slowing the pace a little bit, making Irvine move the ball around the perimeter, and it'll say fouling by the Iowa team.
Woods rebounds the Creswell miss. And Lorenzen is guilty of fouling for the second time. 3rd foul called in the half against Iowa.
Like I said, you go to a zone to protect the players so they don't foul. So Lorenzen picks up the foul. Lorenzen inside position, gets moved out of position, then has to back into the man, drawing the foul.
Out front it is Woods. There's Hess. Hess pretty dangerous from 3-point range usually. Has been cooled off tonight, has just 1 basket. Iowa staying in the zone. Iowa looking at that clock, still 14:08 on it. Iowa would like to see some time run off. Shot clock down to 20, unusually low for the Anteaters to take a shot.
Oh, no.
And now Marble is guilty.
No. Certainly looked like a foul up over the back. Doktorczyk came up over the back. Nothing called.
First foul on Marble, 4th on the Hawkeyes. 3 have been called against the Anteaters. Durazik throwing it away. Lorenzen. Here's Armstrong. Marble. Clutch basket for Marble, his first of the second half, his 11th point of the game. And he is now 6 points shy of becoming the 21st Hawkeye to score 1,000 points in his career. Jewell thought he had the position established, but referee Ted Valentine says blocking foul on Jewell. And apparently the Carver Hawkeye Arena crowd doesn't agree. 5th team foul, Tom Davis watching his team get into some mild foul difficulty. Creswell.
That was a rope. He just drilled that from 20 feet.
Well, some people say the 19-9's too close. He was maybe a couple of feet beyond the barrier. And the foul is called on Doktorczyk. That'll be his first foul. That's the 4th called on the Anteaters. You don't want to get in a foul shooting contest with Cal Irvine because they are among the nation's leaders in free throw shooting year after year.
That was one of the keys we talked about at the top of the show. If at the end of the game it becomes a foul shooting contest, UC-Irvine will be there with the best.
Jones replacing Jewell. Bill Jones, 18 points tonight. And for Marble, his 12th. Roy from the free throw line tonight is connected on 4 out of 5.
Jones.
Now another Iowa change. Reeves will come into the lineup and Moe will leave.
Jones again, just an outstanding night. 9 of 14, 4 rebounds.
And Marble now with 13 points, 4 away from 1,000 for his career. Doktorczyk inbounding. Iowa is led by as many as 21 in this half. Cal Irvine cut it to 10 on 2 occasions. Right now the Hawkeye margin is 15. Hess for 3. Iowa pushing it up. Armstrong losing control, getting his own board. What a play by BJ.
That's the smart, heady play you expect out of a BJ Armstrong, a veteran.
Creswell moves it to Woods. Iowa staying in the zone defense, forced into it due to foul problems. They would rather go man. And a charging foul will be called on Frank Woods. He has now drawn his 3rd foul. So it's Woods with 3, Johansson and Ingolstadt on the bench with 4, and Hess in the Irvine lineup with 3.
Marble, excellent position, catches an elbow right across the side of the face. And now Michael Morgan checks into the lineup for the Hawkeyes.
Morgan seeing his first playing time of the game, his average 1.6. Got 6 last night against the Navy midshipmen, which was a season high for him. 12:29 to go, Lorenzen to Reeves. And Michael hits his 5th point.
Post-up move by Reeves. It's not something you see very often out of Michael.
Normally, with 12 minutes to go and a 19-point lead, a team can afford to be somewhat comfortable. You certainly don't get that feel about this game.
No, you don't.
Armstrong pulled up.
What a soft touch. Great judgment by the junior.
And Iowa has equaled their biggest lead in the game at 21. Baseline move by Woods. Fouled on the way in. Lorenzen drawing the foul. It will be his third. So Lorenzen with 3. Horton on the bench with 4. Nobody else has more than 1. But with Kent Hill not available due to injury, it's a concern for Tom Davis. 11:55 to go. Iowa's equaled their biggest lead. We'll be back after these local messages.
This single-family residence has an Amana Air Command furnace and natural gas. These multifamily residence units also have the Amana Air Command furnaces and natural gas. Amana's advanced technology design has created high-efficiency heating systems for the home and business with ratings of 80 to 97% efficiency. And they use natural gas, your best energy value. If you want to heat your home for less, call your Amana dealer today.
Save on your heating bills. See C&K Heating and Air Conditioning in Ames or Midwest Mechanical Heating and Cooling in Des Moines.
Come home to the freshness. Come home to the quality. Come home to the brand you know. Come home to Highland. Chippiest chips around. Come home to the brand you know. Come home. Come home to Highland. The chippiest chips around. Highland.
B.J. Armstrong loses the ball, goes high in the air, but he doesn't lose his cool at all. Continues to battle for it. Gets the loose ball, then pump fakes, goes over 2 UC-Irvine defenders, both of them much taller than he is. A very heady play right there by B.J. Armstrong.
Nice play indeed. The telecast of tonight's game is authorized by the Athletic Association of the University of Iowa and is intended solely for the private use of our viewing audience. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of the accounts and description of this game without the express written consent of the Athletic Association of the University of Iowa is strictly prohibited. On the breakaway, Michael Reeves inside to Moe. It'll count, and he will go to the free throw line. 14 for Moe, and Iowa's got their biggest lead, now 23.
Fast break opportunity by the Hawkeyes. Michael Reeves, the point guard's enjoying a good, fun night, assisting their teammates. Moe off the bounce pass.
And with the foul for Cal Irvine, Mike Hess, that is his 4th. So 3 Anteater players have 4 fouls apiece.
And
Mike Hess will, at this moment anyway, stay in the game with those 4 fouls because Bill Mulligan, with 2 players already on the bench, doesn't have a whole lot of flexibility. 15 for Moe. He is perfect in 5 free throw tries. And Iowa will get it again.
Moe 4 for 6 from the field. And he has hit 2 of those 3-point perimeter shots.
Jones, Jewell, Reeves also in the lineup right now. Marble and Moe. That's the Hawkeye attack with 11:40 to play. Jewell finds Moe. Open is Jones. Moe.
That was a keep alive by Marble.
And Iowa will get another shot at it.
Over in Des Moines, final score, Iowa State 83 and the Drake Bulldogs 77.
Al Lorenzen playing now with 3 fouls, comes back in.
And the Big Ten ran into another problem. Duke 79, Northwestern 57. Northwestern playing with 4 new people, 4 new starters.
So the Big Ten final scores that we've received, just 1 and 3 thus far tonight. Purdue has won, but Indiana, Northwestern, and Michigan State have lost. Marble somehow got it over the defender's hand, and Lorenzen puts it in. I don't know how he did it.
Excellent pass, excellent vision by Marble. Lorenzen, just a straight power jump, lays it over the rim.
And it's the biggest lead of the game for the Hawkeyes, up by 28, as they have quite a run underway. They have scored 16, make it 15 unanswered points. Until that three-point shot by Anderson, that is his 5th three-pointer of the game.
You're talking 98 points, and there's over 10 minutes left to go in this game.
You believe it? I mean, we knew it was going to be this kind of a pace. But what we didn't know is the shooters would be as proficient as they have been.
Or Irvine's defense would be so bad.
Lorenzen on the follow of the marble miss. And for Al Lorenzen, 16 points. And the point parade goes on. The Hawkeyes hit 100 with 10 minutes to go. The pull-up by Floyd. And again, Iowa now with a 26-point margin, and still with the Anteaters' ability to score points in bunches, it doesn't feel like this one's out of reach yet. Bringing it ahead, Justin Anderson. Engelstadt, who's playing with 4 fouls. He had to come back in. Coach Bill Mulligan didn't want to play him this early, but when your team's down by 24, there's no reason to save somebody.
That's exactly right.
Lorenzen. Mo, good pass.
Mo called for that. Al Lorenzen had his back to the basket, and he yelled, "Al," as he cut across the baseline. Lorenzen turned and flipped it down. By that time, the defenders hurt him also, and it was up to Mo's pump fake to get himself open.
Basket will count. The foul called on Engelstadt, and the leading scorer on the season for Irvine is done for the night. Engelstadt leaves with a total of 13 points. He exits with 9.5 to play. So Bill Mulligan has seen his leading scorer and his top rebounder retired for the evening, and that is going to make this kind of a comeback pretty tough. But certainly Engelstadt not alone in foul difficulty. And again, what makes the Horton 4 foul so critical is Kent Hill has been hurt. He is not available, apparently, for the rest of the game.
Well, I'll tell you, just an amazing point total when you look up there. 102 points, 9:30 left to go in the game. And Irvine, 76 points.
Again, the school record is 121 against Notre Dame in 1970. And the tournament record is tied right there on the Mo free throw. 20 for Mo. The tournament record 103 last year in the championship game against Loyola Marymount. That was a game very similar to this one.
Up and down the court. And Mr. Nikshabitz that day had 17 assists for Loyola Marymount.
Hartman can't buy it. Johansson, number 25, in for Cal Irvine. He plays with 4 fouls. Armstrong.
What you want?
And a collision underneath, and Cal Irvine will be called for the push-off. That will go against Mike Doktorzik.
Right there, Eddie Horton says, "On me, can't be. I didn't even work up a sweat."
Oh, they did call it on Horton. The original point was to Doktorzik. That's what the official first pointed at, and then he turned and pointed to Horton, and so Horton has fouled out with 9:06 to play.
And as we said, that's rather critical. Horton, the injured person, fouled out, and there is Kent Hill, street clothes.
So Hill is out with an injury. Horton is out with fouls. 9:06 to play. That's some of the bad news for the Hawkeyes. The good news is, as Horton leaves, Iowa has a 27-point lead. Doktorzik to the line. He has not scored tonight. Doktorzik, a junior college transfer, playing his second year at Cal Irvine, and he is a junior, good shooter. Last year got 12 against the Hawkeyes in the game that Iowa won in Long Beach, 105-103.
And Mike has a brother, Rob, who this year's redshirting at Irvine. I'll tell you, Coach Mulligan has to be happy with his offense. He's got to be extremely disappointed with defense, or lack thereof.
Marble on the drive. Marble again. Good second effort by Roy Marble. He now has 15 points. His next basket will make him a 1,000-point career scorer. Hartman. Lorenzen with the rebound. Jones. And Bill Jones has his 20th point. 6 of them have come here in the second half. 107-78 Iowa. Hess Marble another rebound.
I'll tell you, there's a good chance you're going to see the all-time scoring record for the University of Iowa broken in this game.
Again, 121 is the record. Iowa with 107 now, and still more than 8 minutes remain. And maybe some career scoring records could also tumble the way the points are coming. Nice pass to Mo. Johansson strips it from him, though. Hess for three. And right now, Cal Irvine is just not getting rebounds at either end of the floor.
Jeff Moe called for a push-off with his left hand. He crashed between two players and then extended that left arm really to regain his balance.
For Mo, his first. Both teams now in the bonus, the remaining 7:50. The one thing Iowa will not wish to do with this kind of a lead is foul, because right now, every time you foul, you stop the clock, allow the opponents to chip away at your lead. Iowa's current lead, 29, their biggest. Armstrong finds Marble, great pass. BJ looks one way, bounces the other. Floyd. And right now, the Anteaters have turned icy.
And they are not going to the offensive rebounding boards at all. They just let one player put it up and fall back in position. Try and play some defense.
And they are also not going to the defensive board. Iowa really dominating the rebounding at this juncture. Jones on the pass from Mo, trying to put it in, and the Anteaters are guilty of a foul. That is Herdman, and that will be his second foul. Number 5 is Creswell. He prepared to check in, but first the timeout would be taken. So we have timeout with 7:15 to play, and the Hawkeyes lead by 29 points on the Hawkeye Sports Network. Iowa with a 107-78 lead. Still lots of time left as the Hawkeyes eye perhaps a school record, 121, the most points they've ever scored. Bill Jones, great night tonight, 20 points. This is not the only arena that Bill Jones performs in.
No, tomorrow, Bill Jones has a lead part in a play. The Black Action Theater group has the Hourglass play tomorrow. And Bill, little theatrics on the court every now and then, going to take it on the road tomorrow in the theater.
I wonder when he finds time to do all these things.
I don't know.
If Jones hits this free throw, he will equal a career high. His previous best, 21 against Boston University. And he will duplicate that by hitting the free throw. That line last night is as good as a player can play.
Especially in 22 minutes.
That is just amazing. You shake your head when you see those kind of numbers in awe. That is, again, as good as you can play. Well, Bill now will try to equal his career high. Season high had been 17 in the opener against Stanford prior to tonight. Floyd pushes it ahead for the Anteaters. And a player control foul, the charge called on Irvine. That time a good job by BJ.
Excellent job. BJ takes that charge as well as anybody on the team. Position. And just ran over.
Floyd's first foul, the Hawkeyes with 107-78 lead and 7:05 remaining. Irvine staying in that man-to-man defense despite the fact they got foul problems. That's virtually all they play. Bill Mulligan says with a three-point goal, he can't see playing zone. He says there's no percentage in that.
What makes his players stand around and maybe play some defense.
Herdman with the foul, and that will be his fourth. So now Hess has 4, Herdman has 4, Johansson has 4, and Engelstadt has already fouled out. Jeff Moe, who came into the ball game struggling with his shooting, has regained the touch tonight. He looks for his 21st point. From the free throw line, he is perfect. Last night he was 8 out of 8. Tonight he is 7 out of 7. This would equal a season high. He had 22 against Kansas. Duplicate that tonight with 6:48 to go. And at the next dead ball, 4 new Hawkeyes will come into the lineup.
Another wave.
The steal by BJ. 18 for Armstrong. Now let's check the Iowa substitutes. As Marble, Jones will leave.
Armstrong wide open on this deal. Challenged late, just looks behind him, makes sure nothing's going to happen as far as a foul. Lays it up off the glass. And I'll tell you, right now, this Iowa Hawkeye team really on a move offensively. Playing very well, getting ready for the clash next week against the U of A.
32 is Jewell, 11 Reeves, 51 Jepson, 24 Morgan, and 20 Moe. Moe, the only player who had been in, so the other 4 just coming in. Here's Reeves. Almost got it to go down for the three-point play. He will go to the free throw line, following the foul on Dr. Zick, which will be his second.
Career high, or total career points, just 2 away from that 1,000-point total.
Armstrong to one side, Bill Jones to the other. Roy Marble tonight
The Michigan
with a
connection.
15 performance.
Michigan connection right there.
And it's 6 points for Michael Reeves. And the scoreboard clock continuing to the scoreboard total continuing to mount as Iowa looks like they're on pace, barring total offensive collapse, for a new school record. Creswell. Dr. Zick. Inside, Dr. Zick, there's Herdman. Iowa continuing to play very good defense, making it tough for Cal Irvine to even get up a shot, and the crowd loves the block by Jepson.
And Jepson loves the shot blocked by Jepson. Bounce pass, good bounce pass interior. Jepson says, get that out of here.
The eraser, huh? And Jepson has a rebound. Now it's Reeves leading the charge. Moe for 3.
Get there.
Jepson. And Dr. Zick had it for a moment. He lost it. Iowa gets it again. Well, the #1 team's gone down.
You look at that. That's at Vanderbilt. And right now, that Iowa-Arizona game, you may see #3 against #4.
Moe blocked by Herdman, but also fouled by Herdman.
You know, a lot of people and fans bring up that question. Why don't top 20 teams play each other more? Why doesn't a certain team come into another school? That's why. You go someplace, Vanderbilt, the bottom of the SEC, beats the #1 team in the country.
Boy, that's a stunner. Herdman becomes the second anteater to foul out. He joins Engelstad on the bench. Hess comes in, and he plays with 4 fouls.
Well, Mr. Moe, 6 for 10 from the field, 8 for 8 on the free throw line. You start talking about player of the games. I mean, Lorenzen has not missed a shot. 6 for 6 field goals, 4 for 4 free throws, 9 rebounds. Armstrong, I think he played a fair game.
Yeah,
that point guard.
I think when it gets this tough, Gay Logan, our producer, has to make the decision, don't you?
Oh, yeah. She makes the big money.
So we'll put the pressure on her and let her make the big decision. Moe now 23 points, a season high, his career high, by the way, 28 against Brigham Young. So that is certainly in sight. All kinds of records to keep track of. And putting in the rebound is Ed Johansson. Johansson playing with 4 fouls. So 2 players have fouled out for Cal Irvine, and 2 more are on the floor with 4 fouls. Iowa's lead as many as 36, currently at 34. Dr. Zick. Woods. Well, tonight, Iowa is beating Cal Irvine at their own game, and it is Irvine that looks very tired. Of course, being behind by 30+ will do that to you. Moe.
No Moe.
Jepson, good hustle. But found the wrong shirt. A week from tonight, Iowa and Arizona, both teams should be ranked in the top 5. You'll see it at 7 o'clock on the Hawkeye Sports Network. That was Johansson. He now has 12 points.
And you're going to see great athletes out there. You got Sean Elliott, Roy Marble, 2 of the best quick forwards, athletic people in the country.
Morgan. First bucket of the night for Michael Morgan. And Iowa's now 5 points away from tying the most points they have ever scored in a game. They're at 116. The school record is 121. The three-point try by Doctorson. Jepson with the rebound, and he will go to the line. Wrapped up by Woods. That will be his fourth foul. So the Anteaters may wind out with not enough people to continue, as they've already lost 2 due to fouls. Iowa with a big lead, as Tom Davis kind of masking his feeling, which I know is a good feeling. He made an interesting comment in the post-game press conference last night. As Iowa blew away Navy by 30, led by as many as 47, he says, you want to have a good time, but you don't want to look so happy that you're showing up the opposition. He was very conscious of that.
I think he reflects that, and therefore his team does.
Now, I know he's happy with where he looks right now, although that was a little bit of a smile.
I'll tell you, I know they're pleased for Les Jepson because he works so hard in practice. In fact, as hard as he works, sometimes his temper becomes his worst enemy.
So Iowa 3 points away from a school scoring record, leading by 36 points, 3:43 to play, and we'll return right after these local messages. Jack McCausland watching the Hawkeyes pound Cal Irvine. And 4 more points will give Iowa a new individual scoring record, 121, the previous high. Announcers for this telecast have been selected by Rasmussen Communications Management and approved by the University of Iowa. And we're awfully glad they did.
Yo, aren't we though?
Well, Cal Irvine working their way into the championship game by beating Jacksonville by 3, but Iowa's made it a long night for them. And about the only unpleasant note for Iowa has been the injury to Kent Hill. He got hurt in the first 10 minutes of the game, is on the bench in street clothes. We have not learned the extent of the injury. Chances are it's one of those kind of injuries they may have to wait a while to determine the extent of it. But let's hope that he can return a week from tonight when Iowa takes on Arizona, what is shaping up as a battle of top 5 rated teams.
I'll tell you, Arizona, people have got to realize, have 6 starters back.
Reeves. Coming out with it, Floyd. Woods. And the putback by Steve Florentine. That is his first basket. Reeves, nice change of pace dribble. And then he gets hammered.
And of course, Larry, when I say 6 starters for Arizona, I mean all 5.
Yeah, I guess that does require a little bit of explanation, doesn't it?
They don't play girls' rules down there, I'll tell you that. They've got 5 starters back from last year, and Steve Kerr's had to sit out last year. He had been a starter 2 years prior to that, had a serious knee injury in the World Games that Coach Olson had coached, and he is coming back. And last year, Arizona lost 6 games in the last 2 minutes, and you can bet with Steve Kerr back, those games would not have occurred with losses last year.
Reeves now equals the season high, got 8 against Kansas, has 8 tonight with 3 in the first half and 5 here in the second half. 2:45 to go. Florentine missing it badly. Jepson with another rebound. Hear the crowd roar every time Les gets one. He has certainly become a crowd favorite. If Iowa hits a bucket here, they tie the school scoring record. Hell, not this time. Woods with the miss. Morgan with the rebound.
There it is.
So a record
That's a tie.
that has stood for 17 years has now been tied.
And that took place at St. John Arena.
A consolation game, right?
Yes, it was. After the loss to Jacksonville.
Johansson connecting, and now Iowa goes for the all-time scoring record in school history. The arena record has long since fallen. That was 111 against George Mason in '84.
Michael Morgan
again.
He tied it. He broke it. He owns it.
Most points the Hawkeyes have ever scored in a basketball game. And it is time to tell you our player of the game, the True Value Hardware University of Iowa player of the game, Al Lorenzen. You can't do better than that, can you?
6 for 6, 4 for 4, 8 rebounds. And again, maybe the most consistent Hawkeye, double figures in each game played this year. And what a real story that is. Last year, a little lack of confidence playing behind Brad Lohaus. People wondered if he could come back this year. I think that question's been answered.
Iowa has played 1,782nd basketball games, but never scored more than they have tonight. And the lane violation will take Florentine's second free throw away. And there he is, our star of the game. A double violation is called. Well, that's something you don't see very often. And so, because of the alternating possession rule, Irvine gets it. It's a jump ball situation when there's a double lane violation. The arrow points the way of the Anteaters, so that is why they've got the possession. 1:26 to go. Number 40, Eddie Shannon, a walk-on, has come into the lineup, and he had the ball. Anderson, who's been red hot from three-point range until then. And the Anteaters get another crack at it with 1:14 to go. So Iowa goes to 6-0. The Anteaters fall to 3-2. And for the 5th time in 6 years, the Amana Hawkeye Championship belongs to the Hawkeyes, who now have a week to get ready for the invasion of Lute Olson and the class of the Pac-10, the Arizona Wildcats. There's the announcement of the scoring record. Peter Strauss with it. He's in for the first time. 1:05 remains. An unforgettable night for Hawkeye fans.
Oh, it looks like Irvine, they're going to do their delay game.
Shannon. And Jepson with another rebound. Iowa's got a 4-on-3. Morgan. And we're down to the final 38 seconds. Jeff Moe leads Iowa scoring tonight with 23. Bill Jones with 20 points. B.J. Armstrong with 18. Al Lorenzen 16. Roy Marble 15. Lots and lots of production. The rest of the scoring, Reeves has got 8. Morgan 6. Jewell 5. Jepson 2. Kent Hill only 2, and they have just announced the all-tournament team.
Well, you look there, Wayne Ingolstadt, Irvine, Al Lorenzen, most valuable player tonight, and certainly Jeff Moe, D. Brown, Jacksonville, B.J. Armstrong, and this tournament, Bill Jones, MVP.
B.J. Armstrong, kind of ho-hum all-tournament team. He's done that before 3 times last year, including this tournament. And Jeff Moe will come in for the final 21 seconds. Those 23 points represent a season high for Jeff. And it's a kicking violation, and so the Anteaters play it with 15 seconds. 15 seconds, all that remain as Tom Davis now has a week to get his team ready for Arizona, and Bill Mulligan sends his team back to California, getting beat at their own game.
And of course, University of Arizona's got a couple games before they come here. One tomorrow, one Tuesday night.
Pepperdine and Northern Arizona provide the opposition for Lute Olson's Wildcats prior to their visit here next Saturday. Strauss with the foul, his first.
And Pepperdine earlier got DePaul. Caught them napping a little bit. Like we said, forget the 9, forget the 6. There'll be different numbers by next week.
And already one number we know, Iowa will be 6-0. And again, the Wildcats could also be 6-0. They've got 2 games to play. 24 for Moe, his career high, 28 against Brigham Young. So he won't get there tonight, most likely, with 4 seconds remaining. But Moe came in with a shooting slump, has broken out of it. Reeves at the horn. And And this history-making night has come to an end as Iowa claims the Amana Hawkeye Championship for the 5th time in 6 years with a 124-88 victory over Cal Irvine. That's the end of the game. The final score, Iowa 124, Cal Irvine 88. We'll be back with a final comment after this on the Hawkeye Sports Network.